Let's talk about Will Smith because he's returning to the big screen in his first film since the infamous Oscars moment earlier this year. Now, some people are asking if his career can bounce back. Producer Chris is standing by with more on that story. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Wisdom. So the question really is here, is this too soon after all of that Oscar slap drama? So the new movie is called Emancipation, and Apple Studios released the first trailer yesterday. So Smith plays an enslaved man in the movie, fleeing the South to join the Union Army. So the movie is not being pushed back like many people thought it would be until next year. That had been previously thought. It's set to hit theaters in December, on December 2nd. It's going to drop on Apple TV Plus on December 9th. So a lot of people are waiting to see how audiences and the Academy will respond to this. I'm curious what you guys think, if it's too soon, if it's going to overshadow the message of the movie. And also, do you think the promotion for this movie will be what it would have been if all of that hadn't gone down? Because I'm wondering, is Will Smith going to then do interviews? Is he going to sit down and talk about it? You know he's going to get questions about everything that happened last year. And also Kevin McCarthy pointed out to me this morning before I came back here that in the trailer, it doesn't even say starring Academy Award winner Will Smith.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah. Okay. Sarah, what do you think?
Okay, let me get my psychic ball out here. I don't think it's too soon. I think he's coming back. I think they're going to air the film. You know, our news cycle is so short. People have moved on. They obviously invested a lot of money in this. Now, do I think we're going to see Will and Jada at the Oscars? I say not for the next 3 years. If you know, maybe even 5. I mean, if he is nominated, he won't be there. Somebody will accept. It'll be very, very quiet. You know, look, they're media pros. He'll do selective interviews, you know, like a sit down where they pick the questions beforehand. I think people are going to watch it. People just move on so quickly now, and I think networks are getting privy to just give it a couple months and then they put these people back on whether they're canceled or not. Well, that's my hot.
Here's the thing. I think a lot of this, too, is specific to Will Smith. I think he's built up so much goodwill and he's so beloved over, I mean, a lot of us grew up with him, that if there's anyone that can get away with something like that, it's Will Smith. Not so much just get away with it, but like, hey, you know, people make mistakes. This is the one thing in this many decades that he's done that, you know, wasn't so great. I think he'll be fine. I think they'll promote the heck out of it. They'll do the interviews, like you said, selected interviews, and I think the movie will actually do well.
I disagree on all fronts.
Wow. Okay.
I think the movie is not going to do well because I think that the controversy is going to overshadow everything. Because when you see Will Smith for the next couple of years, that's all you're going to think about. You can try to limit the press conversation all you want. At some point, people are going to be like, look, we got to ask this question. We have to ask this question. You cannot get on in front of a camera and demand that people don't ask you about what happened at the Oscars and all that controversy.
But not asking that question is separate from I'm not going to see the movie.
Yeah.
Like, just because the question, whether the question is asked or not, I don't think will impact whether or not someone will watch a movie. Have you heard since then a large kind of rumble, loud rumble of people saying we're going to boycott Will Smith?
I didn't hear that in the first place.
And it hasn't happened since then.
But I'm telling you now that this is going to be an issue, and if it was the subject matter is going to be too controversial for him to be involved in a project like this after what he did. So I think that that's going to be a problem. I think that marketing this movie is going to be a problem based on what he did. I think it's too much. At some point, he does have to deal with it, but I just don't think this is the time or the place. I don't think it's going to work. I mean, who am I? But I just think, in my opinion, it will not work. Yeah. And that movie is not going to be successful.
All right, Sarah, we'll have to revisit this and play this back. Good to see you, my friend, fellow mom.
Good to see you guys.
And y'all make sure you check out her podcast as well. It's just more of the good stuff you saw here. Holly, I'll send it over to you.
All right, we've got 2 chances.